Another quiet night at the office. No phone calls, no messages, nothing but junk mail and overdue bills to keep me company. Seems nobody wants to hire a real private dick anymore, a professional like me. A guy who does the detective work nobody else wants to do. A guy who wears hats and walks around in a black and white world. I began contemplating a more profitable line of work, like politics.
We are the show you want to know. It's time to talk to you.
All right, folks. Welcome to the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. Happy Monday to you and happy day after Super Bowl. Today is one of the highest days of people calling in sick. But going into the weekend, actually the request for today off was higher than it has been in years past. But of course, there was a very unique thing happening, right? First time. And I'm actually surprised at this. That I would have really thought that some point, a president of the United States went to the Super Bowl, but Donald Trump made history yesterday being the first sitting president to go to the Super Bowl. Now, obviously, George Bush did, but not as sitting president. I think security was probably the toughest it's ever been at a Super Bowl yesterday. But interesting game, right? I mean, is that a blowout technically? Do they call it a blowout? No, I guess you'd have to be zero to be a blowout.
Yeah.
All right. They decisively won, though. But and I have no idea because I didn't sit and watch the entire game. Did they show Taylor Swift at all?
Well, look, I was upset, and I'm upset more now that I didn't know that I could take the day off.
Oh, radio doesn't do that. Very different world here. There is no days off. We don't need no days off.
We don't need no days off.
Oh, so absolutely. So I hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl. If that was your thing, there's a big soccer game for those that like that kind of football coming up at the end of the month. My team, I like Real Madrid. All right, let's do some housekeeping, folks. If you're awake or hungover, that's, you can just close your eyes and listen. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. That's 508-871-7000. That will get you into the studio for two-way talking conversation today. Behind the glass, flying the board today, and broadcasting from the palatial but not overly ostentatious studios in Westboro, high atop the Carberry Towers. So you can tune into the TuneIn app too, because like thousands of other radio stations, we stream there 24/7. So just punch in WCRN when you see our kind of really cool new logo. Do me a favor, hit the like button. Then we're easy to find. We know you're there. You can also listen on the website, but TuneIn or TuneIn app is the way to do it. On my show, though, I do stream it to my social media platforms, so you can listen and watch from the studios on Facebook, X, Twitch TV, LinkedIn profile, and even Rumble. I do stream live to Rumble. It's not posted later. So if you went to the Joe Mangiacotti channel right now, you could watch it on Rumble as well as Facebook, X, Twitch TV. It does get loaded up to Torch TV, a new streaming channel, which we're kind of combining, by the way. AUN TV networks and Torch are going to be coming together. So we'll have the streaming channel plus several terrestrial towers. Of course, all those towers are in the Northwest, Oregon and Northern California, Nevada and stuff. So it doesn't really matter. But you can go to Torch TV and shows like the Weekly Report, the Donaldson Files, which all can be heard here on the weekend on AM 830 WCRN. Our text line is running 617-297-8388, 617-297-8388. Now, folks, I've got to tell you that I've been doing this a long time, and I've seen a lot, and you think you've seen it all and heard it all. And honestly, some of what I'm about to get into today is enough to make your head spin. And I'm talking about your tax dollars. I don't know how many times I say this over and over again. The government doesn't have any money. It's our money been reallocated. They've taken it from us. And why did they ask for 85,000 Social Security IRS agents that have no problem carrying a gun? Well, anyway, they take it from us. So whenever we talk about this money, and I love the fact that sometimes the person on the street or the left say it's only $1 million, it's only 10 million, it's only, oh my goodness, only adds up, folks. Only here and only there. But this hard-earned money you work for day in and day out being funneled in some of the most ridiculous, infuriating, and downright offensive projects you can imagine. I'm not talking about just the usual waste, right? This is next level waste. This is next level stuff here, folks. So kind of buckle up here because I'm going to go through a list of some of these government funded extravagances, and it might make your blood boil. So sorry to do this on the day after
Wait a
a
minute.
fun
Wait a minute, Joe.
time.
My money to get my socks put on in the morning. That's not in this list, is it?
No, it is not. But if you write a grant and submit it to the right person, you could maybe get something to study Ted putting his socks on. So let's and this is the other thing. I got to say this again. USAID. It's not USAID. USA sounds pretty good, right? So let's talk about USAID, the agency. It's the United States Agency for International Development. It's not aid like we're providing you assistance aid. And I know it's cutesy and government loves its acronyms, don't it?
Fake news.
Exactly. So when every time you hear USAID or USA, well, however they say it, it's United States, pause, Agency for International Development. All right, so let's get that straight. This is not an aid-funded project for assistance and to aid people. It's to invest into projects, to develop projects.
It's explicitly designed to develop American interests on the international scene.
Exactly. And the irony here is who decides that, or who have been deciding it for 50 years or 60 years almost, has been bureaucrats working at that agency, deciding how much and spend all this money, plus the requests that come in. They've been working under a standing order that you can't refuse anything. Now the left has a problem because a bureaucrat, Elon Musk, is saying, hey, this is ridiculous. So I'm back to their bureaucrats are great. Non-bureaucrats that belong to them aren't great. So basically, the name that sounds so innocent, right? But if I told you it's actually been a slush fund for all sorts of ridiculous woke nonsense.
A laundry
list of stuff, man. It is laundering money, by the way, because it's funny. Some of it disappears before it gets to what it's intended to, and then some of it makes its way back. So funding everything from transgender operas in Colombia, because that's very much in our interest, to drag shows in Ecuador. How could we survive without those? And you heard me right, folks. Taxpayer money, your money, has been spent on all of this garbage. And don't even get me started on how much has gone into funding diversity, equity, and inclusion, right? Those programs in foreign countries. Why would we invest in that program in foreign countries? And some of the countries that we're talking about, those initials in LGBTQI, IA+, totally illegal. Homosexuality is still illegal in 71 countries. So I don't understand why we're giving the money for that. $2 million for transgender activism in Guatemala. Guatemala, Ted.
Some of the more sophisticated BS artists in the Senate, I can say that, right? BS artists? Okay.
Well within the FCC regulations.
Thank you. They are positioning themselves to say that we use these covers to fund activities that are authorized through the CIA.
Yeah.
And all I can say is what I said to somebody who's retired from this business. I said, there are much better ways to fund overt and covert activity.
Exactly. First of all, if it's a covert black ops, shut up. You shouldn't be talking about it. If it's truly a black operation, you're not referencing it on the record. So that's asinine. Okay, again. But then again, have we seen the collective intelligence of some of the members of Congress? I hate to keep going back to AOC, but I mean, she's the poster child.
I see you're partial to understatement.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. 1.5. So we have 2 million for Guatemalan transgender activism, and $1.5 million. Again, $1 million here, 2 million there. It starts to add up, folks. $1.5 million for LGBTQ job programs in Serbia. You see this kind of money going out, and we're looking at the homeless vets. We're looking at the devastation that has happened with hurricanes and then the fires, wildfires, and snowstorms, and just what it takes for some families to feed their own family. And we're sending billions of dollars to these programs that I cannot, even if I try to look at it from a leftist point of view, figure out how that benefits American interest. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, hey, Joe, why should I care about this? This is happening halfway across the world, right? Well, let me tell you why. Because your government is siphoning your money to push an agenda that doesn't even have your interests in mind. Meanwhile, we've got homeless veterans on our streets, inflation eating away at your paycheck, an economy that's gasping for air, and yet somehow we can afford to fund drag queens on the other side of the globe. It's a little ridiculous, folks.
Hey, Joe, every United States citizen owes $102,000 to the debt.
That's including babies, everybody.
Everybody.
Not family.
Everybody.
Each citizen.
Oh, wait a minute. It doesn't include illegal aliens. And
No, they don't.
criminal
No,
aliens.
that's
They're
where the money needs.
They're not required.
So it does get a little bit better here because, folks, climate change, right? Let's not forget climate change. You know, the thing they keep telling us is the end of the world unless we spend trillions of dollars. Just us, not India or China. USAID, that's United States again, Agency for International Development, not the aid, like the acronym says, is throwing money at it like it's monopoly cash here. We're
That's
talking
an inconvenient truth, huh?
it is a very inconvenient truth for the left and for these bureaucrats, right, who haven't been elected. So we're talking $150 billion. Yes, billion. That is with the B. For climate equity, climate justice, whatever fancy term that you've invented for that this week. And there is all this money going. Where is it going? Well, electric vehicle charging stations in Vietnam. I mean, I'm seriously, why would we pay for a charging station for electric car in Vietnam? A country that's got a far cry from a robust EV market, I got to tell you, and $1.5 million to a train in Kenya, to fight climate change. Last time I checked, the best way to fight climate change in the U.S. was by keeping the lights on and the economy moving. But apparently the solution is to give away millions to other countries. You know, folks, already ads. I can't believe it. We're already hitting our first break here on the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. Reminding you can join the conversation at 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. All right, stick with us. I'll be back on the other side or back in 2 and 10.
Looking for guidance as you face a future on Social Security? It's hard to figure out on your own. But MedicareAdvisors.com is a completely independent insurance agency specializing in Medicare insurance planning. We work with the top insurance companies so we can offer our clients the best coverage for them. We design plans with a focus on low costs, which we combine with personalized insurance advice aimed at helping our clients make better informed decisions. Russ Swallow is a certified senior advisor and a licensed insurance advisor. He's been helping clients with their health insurance needs since 1970. And after a failed attempt at retirement, he created the Medicare Advisors in 2014. Russ concluded that since Medicare is health insurance, he might as well put his almost 50 years of health insurance experience to good use, as 75,000 people reach age 65 in Massachusetts every year, and they can use some help. Call Russ today at 508-831-0805. Put his years of personal experience to work for you as you try to unravel the complexities of Social Security.
Perner Logging and Land Clearing. Fully equipped with state-of-the-art equipment to handle all of your lot and land clearing needs, whether it's 1 acre or 100. They regularly service customers in the local area and will travel to neighboring communities and beyond to get the job done. Now, whether you're doing new construction, renovations, or clearing land for a new development, the Perner Logging and Land Clearing team of experienced personnel makes small or large jobs run efficiently, giving them the ability to always keep the competitive edge. They'll quote your job from something small to hundreds of acres, factoring in all aspects, including the wood salvage value, if any. In addition, they have the right equipment for each size job, making for the most efficient job site possible. For every job, Perner Logging and Land Clearing make sure the client's goals are the main objective. Call Perner Logging and Land Clearing today for a free estimate, 978-270-9916. That's 978-270-9916.
All right, folks, we're back to the second segment of the Monday afternoon edition of the Joe Mangiacotti, kicking off the week here, the day after the Super Bowl. And you can join the conversation at 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. Just finishing my thought on that, you know what's really, truly infuriating about this USAID, because Americans are struggling here at home. Gas prices are up. People can't afford groceries. And we're supposed to sit back while our own government spends our tax dollars on things like electric car charging stations in third world countries. But hey, don't worry, there's always more to this, right? Mass migration. And I love the Orwellian way that they change meanings, right? This happened with the transgender world. All of a sudden, we've got to accept that he and she are no longer exclusive to biological, but also include those that identify as either. And that's where it gets confusing. I love watching the older people when people reference the non-binary, the they, them, and they say they are coming over, and older people think, oh, that's nice, they're bringing a friend. How many are coming over? And you got to say, no, they is a one person. So it's not grammatically correct either. But a topic I know has been a hot button issue lately, and I know what that I don't hear enough about people talking about is how the U.S. government is actually funding this mass migration. $14 million in cash vouchers handed out to migrants at our southern border. And it doesn't stop there. $45 million to help Venezuelan migrants settle in Colombia. U.S. wasn't even in that sentence, guys. All right. $45 million to help Venezuelans settle in Colombia. And just to put the cherry on top of this Sunday, USAID even gave $3.2 million to help deported migrants reintegrate back into Tunisia. That's not our problem.
Joe, this is going to get so deep. I read yesterday that the flights that were bringing illegal aliens into the country were private jets that were paid for out of these funds.
Yeah, they charted jets. That was the thing that kills you, right? So because Biden administration came up with the border app, which was like the open table for migrants coming in here. And then they played the game, guys, with the, because Biden tried to say the numbers are down. But the people that used the border app and got flown directly to an airport of their choice in this country, actually, they took those numbers off, but those people would have come over illegally. I don't know if you followed that or not. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Let me go to the phones because Mark has been waiting patiently. Hey, Mark, what say you?
Yeah, I like what's going on with Elon Musk. Oh, 3 years ago, you remember, he was the darling of the left, and he was he was going to develop the electric vehicle, and God bless him. But now he's the biggest SOB who ever walked the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? You want to know why he is?
Yeah, because he went a little right, and he went to Trump. And
well, what he did is that he conducted a forensic audit of, in particular, so far, a deep dive on this USAID. All right, and that's why they hate his guts, because he's opening up one can of worms after another. I'll get off the air, but I'm going to say this before I get off the air. This is going to be the acid test for Pamela Bondi. We're going to see what she's really made out of. Because if she just gives, like Uncle Howie says, this USAID thing, and this thing reeks of corruption.
Did you see, Mark, did you see what Pam Bondi has done regarding sanctuary cities?
No, I haven't. What I put,
Joe, why don't you explain it? I think you've got a better handle on it.
No, let Mark finish his thought.
I'm not going to get on to that track. I'm going to stay on this one. Now, the track I'm on is this. I want to see summons to appear before congressional hearings under oath And then after that takes place, I want to see indictments and more indictments because I know they're there. The American people with half a brain in their head knows that they're there. I want to see her actually do it, unlike the Pillsbury Doughboy who we had under Trump's previous administration, Bill Barr. I want to see her do something.
Yeah, Bill Barr. You know, and thank you, Mark, for the call. Greatly appreciated. And yes, going back to Van Bondi and seeing this in congressional hearings and the subpoenas, and in this case, when somebody does ignore a congressional subpoena, I want them to face the consequences that others, meaning the conservative or Republican people who didn't want to appear in front of Congress, they seem to get punished. But when you're a Democrat, there's a D next to your name, you don't seem to have the same consequences from telling Congress, no, I'm not going to come. People actually went to jail under this. So let's enforce the law. And that's the other part of this. And I'm going to run with it. Mark didn't directly go here, but it's not retribution. It's not payback. If you just simply enforce the laws that exist instead of ignoring them when they belong to your camp, that you enforce the laws that exist and that are there. And as far and it's not just one thing, Mark, on that. They started not liking Elon Musk long before he got in charge of Doge and USAID came in. They stopped liking him back when he bought Twitter for freedom of speech, when he started just talking to Trump, never mind contributing, never mind camping out at Mar-a-Lago. I'm talking about when he just said, oh, Trump's policies, those are pretty good. That's all it took, right? We look back over the last 4 years and beyond, actually, in this cancer culture. If you just, and here's the word that they used, why are you humanizing him? People on the left, if they talked to Trump, met with Trump, or even made anything other than an attack on Trump on a show, they would get bombarded with text and calls from the other liberals in Hollywood and on television saying, why are you humanizing him? Don't treat him like a normal person. He's not normal. We got to keep this up. So Elon Musk started losing the darling status of the left long before Doge came into play.
Yeah, he really set them off when he announced SpaceX because it was challenging the flow of funds around and about NASA.
Look, the other, Elon Musk has made a lot of his money from government contracts. So let's not forget that. I mean, a lot of us don't even, because not something that's in the news when he gets a contract for hundreds of millions here or billions of dollars there. But if you start to look at the things that his companies have been providing for us under contracts, as does everybody, right? We're not a communist country. We have contractors, and those contractors meet certain guidelines. Now, the way this has been done and who gets awarded has gone very corrupt. Wait till we get to the DOD. Wait until Trump and Doge turn their attention on DOD, because the biggest number of government contracts we have are, of course, defense type contracts, Raytheons and stuff. And how do they get awarded? I've always said this, guys. Think about this. And I thought about this back on the Challenger accident. I thought about this every time I hear a helicopter crashes in the military or there's a problem. Whatever it is, whatever aircraft, spacecraft, weapon that you're using a product created by the contractor who had the lowest responsive bid, meaning you're flying something that the company that said, I can do that the cheapest, got the contract. I don't know if that's the way it should happen. It should really probably be done with who can give the best quality at the whatever the market price is. But I digress. Now think about this for a second. We're literally paying to send people back to their countries and provide them with a fresh start. Why do they need a fresh start? Well, they left their country. Look, there's a very small percentage of people who are actually fleeing persecution or danger. It happens. It's out there. But all of these millions of people trying to get in this country, they're not fleeing from danger. They just want a better life. I understand that, and I agree with that. Which is why I've always said that the immigration issue is a 1-2 punch. You've got to secure the border while you simultaneously establish a streamlined, effective vetting process and award working papers or working status to people who want to come here. And one of the number one thing in the top 3-4 things to get a program is that you come to this country, but you can't then depend on the country for anything. That you can't come here expecting we're putting you in a hotel room for 6 months or a year. So you've got to come here for a job. And maybe we make it easier for you to obtain a job outside of the country before you move here. I mean, people are hired every day over Zoom calls, by the way. But grant a temporary visa to come for an interview. And then if you have a job and you're secured and you've got a lease agreement and you're not going to be a burden on the taxpayer, because why should that happen? Think about that. You're born or your child's born today in this country. They're already indebted to take care of someone being born at the same time in another country in 15 or 20 years from now. That's not the American dream. So why we have to spend millions of dollars to send people back to their original countries and provide them with a fresh start? If they hadn't left, they wouldn't need a fresh start anyway. But there's still more here. How about this for an absolute slap in the face? $15 million worth of contraceptives, yeah, condoms, folks, sent to Afghanistan under the Taliban rule. Let that sink in. We're sending birth control to a country where women are being treated like property under the Taliban's brutal rules. But this isn't just happening in Afghanistan. We've been sending $118 million worth of condoms to Africa. And I'm sure you'll be thrilled to know that $3.2 million went to help 3D print birth control for women in developing countries. Meanwhile, here at home, we've got children struggling to get an education. And our schools are in a state of disarray. But hey, at least we've got contraceptives in Afghanistan, right? So that's good. Can't believe we're already reaching the halfway point here in the Monday afternoon edition of the May 30 WCRN Radio Central. 508-871-7000, folks. 508-871-7000. Back in 2 and 10.
Time now for the forecast from the Boston Independence Group Weather Center. Call Jerry Doherty today at 877-772-1776. Retirement is within reach.
I'm meteorologist Sherry Spear, and here's the latest Boston 25 weather on Radio 830 WCRN. It's going to be fairly bright today and cool as well. We've got lower 30s, partly sunny skies. Really similar forecast for your Tuesday plans as well. Next widespread precipitation is Thursday, and it does look to start as a little bit of snow and sleet and change over to rain and freezing rain pretty quickly. So we'll have to keep an eye on that for some slippery morning and midday travel. I'm meteorologist Sherry Spear, and you can hear Boston 25 live for the morning drive weekdays on AM 830 WCRN.
More live and local radio is next. Stay tuned to Radio Central, 830 WCRN.
Looking for guidance as you face a future on Social Security? It's hard to figure out on your own. MedicareAdvisors.com is a completely independent insurance agency specializing in Medicare insurance planning. We work with the top insurance companies so we can offer our clients the best coverage for them. We design plans with a focus on low costs, which we combine with personalized insurance advice aimed at helping our clients make better informed decisions. Russ Swallow is a certified senior advisor and a licensed insurance advisor. He's been helping clients with their health insurance needs since 1970. And after a failed attempt at retirement, he created the Medicare Advisors in 2014. Russ concluded that since Medicare is health insurance, he might as well put his almost 50 years of health insurance experience to good use, as 75,000 people reach age 65 in Massachusetts every year, and they can use some help. Call Russ today at 508-831-0805. Put put his years of personal experience to work for you as you try to unravel the complexities of Social Security.
All right. Welcome back to the second half of the Monday afternoon edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. To join the conversation, it's simple, folks. You can do that for the remainder of the hour at 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. Look, I got one final point on this that will truly grind your gears. I think that was Peter Griffin, right? Didn't he do something on Family Guy? Peter grind my gears.
Give it to me, baby.
Eco Health Alliance. Ever heard of them? You know the name. I'm sure you've heard of it. They're the ones that worked with the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Yeah, the same one that brought us a global pandemic. Not the bats, folks. And guess who funded them? You guessed it. USAID, United States Agency. Okay, again, not aid. Tune of $854,000. Don't worry. And since we're so eager to throw you money away, USAID also handed EcoHealth another $1.1 million. And here's the kicker. They awarded them $4.67 million, right, to the same group back in 2021.
That's an expensive sniffle.
I got to tell you, I'm no expert, but I'd say this is an ongoing problem and one that's likely to blow up in our faces sooner than later. It already has. But what do you expect when the government is handing out cash to terrorists, funding organizations that have direct ties to groups like Hamas, and generally squandering taxpayer money on anything other than the needs of Americans? We do have a problem. So, folks, this is your money. This isn't monopoly money. It's not play money. It's real, hard-earned income. And right now, it's being flushed down the drain of incompetence, bureaucracy, and globalist nonsense. Here's the good news. Trump's taking action. He's putting a freeze on these absurd programs.
Oh, yeah.
And for once, we have a president willing to put a stop to this madness. It's about time someone in power started asking, why are we funding drag queens in Ecuador while our own citizens are struggling? It's a fair question. It's not a difficult question. Maybe difficult to answer at this point. So we've got a lot to talk about, and stay with me here. We're going to go to the phones, 508-871-7000. Ken has been waiting patiently. Hey, Ken, what say you?
Good afternoon, Joe. And as it pertains to our favorite federal agency, I have my own acronym for them.
Uh-oh.
I take out the U.
We're on FCC regulated
remember,
airwaves.
remember.
Yeah. Okay.
None of that. None of that. You know me. I wouldn't do that.
Thank you,
course.
Ken.
So you take away the USA. I call them FITFIT, Fake International Development for International Destruction.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
You know, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's the case. Now, here's another thing that I'm listening to you, and it's like, whoa, think of this. What was the relationship between Elon Musk and the left 5 years ago?
Oh, he was the father of the electric car.
Darling,
right. And he was so into, their causes. And he was a registered Democrat at one time.
So they didn't learn their lesson with Donald Trump?
No.
There's certain people they shouldn't be messing with.
Yeah.
They're paying the big price messing with Trump and now messing with Musk.
Yeah. And he loves it, by the way. It's like Trump. It doesn't affect him. I mean, have you watched some of his tweets or X's or whatever we're calling him? I mean, he puts memes up there. He's kind of a funny guy.
I love it that he quoted The Princess Bride. When somebody asked him, aren't you afraid of losing money by your publishing your... He says, offer me money. Offer me power.
Yeah.
I do not care.
Yeah. He had there was a thing, I don't know, it was a British, well, there were two that I like with Elon Musk. One, and they were both British reporters. Ken, you might know what I'm talking about. One, he talks to him about all of the racism and hate on Twitter or X now. And does it bother him that's gone up? People are saying this. And Elon's like, well, who's saying it? He goes like, I don't know. People say it. Well, you brought it up. Surely you have an example. Why don't you give me an example? Well, I don't know. People just told me I'm off X. Wait a minute. You're off of X. You don't use it, but you're asking me. So he ripped him apart. And then there was another one where they were talking, and I think he was specifically kind of putting a dig to Disney's Bob Iger there, the guy, right? Because the question was about, hey, how do you feel about the fact that when you bought Twitter, all of these people stopped advertising? Is that bothering you? You know, you're going to have a problem. And basically he said, if you think you can buy me, or change me or influence me by not advertising, he said, F you. And he said it in the interview. He didn't use that. And he goes, basically he said, he's the richest man. Well, one of the richest men in the world. How are you possibly? And see, this is a problem, I think, there on the left, Ken, they're having. You got a billionaire as president, and he said it last week in casually in a thing. He said, I don't need the money. I don't need any money. They can't get to me. But they can get to the Joe Bidens of the world that are not independently wealthy, and they will sell out. Some of these people will sell out their country for the money. And now you've got a billionaire as president who doesn't even take a salary and donates it back to different government agencies. And then you've got a guy in charge of the Department for Waste and Stupidness, who's the richest man in the country, who isn't taking any money. So how do they get to them? Neither one of these guys, right? Elon Musk has never held an elected position. Donald Trump's first time ever running for an office, it was the president of the United States, and he won. So I've always said this. He got to the Oval without owing any agency or group or lobbyist or special interest. He got there through the American people the first time, and certainly the second time. They don't know how to deal with that. The normal powers, the levers that they normally use to exert influence or to force people, like we'll run somebody in a primary, or we're going to give you a bad committee, or your office is in the basement. And some people actually care about that crap. They can't do that to these guys. Tell Elon Musk he's going to have a closet for an office. He'll buy the building next door.
And this is part of the reason why the media is so up in arms about these guys. They don't need to shuffle around to get access. They're in their face. I think it was Katie Couric. You guys remember that name, right? She recently said, "Oh, covering Trump, you really got to work hard."
They are all complaining about this. I saw one clip of I don't know who the heck she is. They all look the same to me, saying, "Oh, I thought I'd have a nice breakfast this morning, and as I'm going out to have breakfast, I get a call. Trump's going to have a press conference. I had to run home. I couldn't even have a little breakfast." The media actually has to work now. They haven't worked under Joe Biden because they never had access to Joe Biden. Every time Donald Trump does an executive order signing, it turns into a presser. And I got this repeated story, I think, on Faulkner or one of those shows, going to the Super Bowl. Here he has Air Force One loaded with the media, and they called everybody to gather, which is a big thing. If you're on the media team, the media pool in Air Force One, and they say, "Hey, everybody, you got something to say." And they timed this so that they all gathered, and Trump came to talk to them. And all of a sudden, to the story, I got the repeat on this, Ken. Perfect timing. The voice came booming over the loudspeaker like God speaking to the plane, saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to draw your attention to the right side of the plane. And the first time in international waters, we are flying over the Gulf of America."
It was brilliant.
It was perfect timing, And I think he got rid of the penny somewhere in there.
All right,
Have you heard this?
Look, I gotta make a correction.
Mm.
We don't have pennies in this country. The word penny is not on any one red cent. They are cents.
They are cents. Yeah, it does say cent on a 1 cent on the penny itself.
We have pennies in the English Commonwealth countries.
So, I think the number, I've heard different things, but Kudlow tells me that it costs 3.5 cents to make a 1 cent penny. So I'm sorry, Ken, you were saying, Kenneth.
Yeah, I was going to give you that price too, I heard. But, the tactics that they carry out, I now have a name for these people, and they showed their face big time at the education department, Freddie. That was funny.
Oh, they're trying to get in Maxine Waters. What a horrible little woman she is. Yelling at that security guard and I mean, that was threatening. What she was doing was just straight up trying to intimidate.
I have a name for them. The bully wolves.
Bully wolves?
Woke. W-O-K.
Oh, bully woke. Bully woke.
I think if you do it the other way around, it kind of takes away.
Woke bully. No, bully woke.
Bully.
Someone is bully woke. I like bully woke. Yeah, that's a nice way. They're bully woke. Right, exerting their pressure. See, they had it so easy for years that they could cancel people, and some schmuck in his pajamas in his mom's basement could put something online with the autonomy of the internet, and companies, and I'm talking Fortune 500 companies, started changing policies based on that. I mean, what happened to the days when you used to have to get a couple dozen people to physically come and pick it out in front of the headquarters of a building? You don't have to do that now. You create some accounts and you get to bully these corporations. But you know who's at fault here, Ken? It's the damn corporation. What the hell's wrong with you? Stick to your, look at the, what they've done to these companies that are afraid, or at the DEI stuff. Some of most are getting rid of it. Some are still holding on to it.
Say that name again, Ken.
Bullywog?
Bullywog.
Bully.
I like it. Nice job.
That could be the segment intro music. Bullywog segment. We bring you another one of these stupid things that they're doing. Before I have to let you go, any final thought, Ken?
No, these chapters keep continuing. And let me summarize in that what we have in Trump and Musk, they're the two big Avengers. They just need more Avengers to join them.
They do. They need, like that movie there, when Batman went around gathering them all up, right? So somebody has to do that. Maybe Elon's puts together a pretty good team. He put together a pretty good team, and the left are going crazy for two reasons. One, they're young. Well, you have AOC. And two, they kept saying bureaucrats. They're not elected. No bureaucrats elected. Duh. Ken, thanks for the call. Always greatly appreciated.
Guardians of the Treasury.
Guardians of the American taxpayers, what it should be. Folks, we got to take a third and final break here on the Monday afternoon edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. Still join the conversation at 508-871-7000. Back in 2 and 10, folks. Stick with
Looking for guidance as you face a future on Social Security? It's hard to figure out on your own. The MedicareAdvisors.com is a completely independent insurance agency specializing in Medicare insurance planning. We work with the top insurance companies so we can offer our clients the best coverage for them. We design plans with a focus on low costs, which we combine with personalized insurance advice aimed at helping our clients make better informed decisions. Russ Swallow is a certified senior advisor and a licensed insurance advisor. He's been helping clients with their health insurance needs since 1970. And after a failed attempt at retirement, he created the Medicare Advisors in 2014. Russ concluded that since Medicare is health insurance, he might as well put his almost 50 years of health insurance experience to good use, as 75,000 people reach age 65 in Massachusetts every year, and they can use some help. Call Russ today at 508-831-0805. Put his years of personal experience to work for you as you try to unravel the complexities of Social Security.
Looking for a fuel and food stop that truly stands out? Experience the Yatco difference. At Yatco, we're dedicated to bringing you the best customer service, the highest quality products, and a commitment to making your life on the go easier. From top quality fuel to freshly stocked snacks and essentials, Yatco has you covered. Yatco has 15 convenient locations across central Massachusetts, and now our newest spot at 75 Quonsigamut Ave in Worcester. For Yatco rewards, simply download the Yatco app and sign up. Friendly, clean, local, and always convenient. Make Yatco your favorite food and fuel stop. Stop by Yatco food and fuel stations today and experience the Yatco difference. Yatco, where every stop keeps you going.
All right, folks, welcome back to the fourth and final segment here in the Monday afternoon edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. Don't forget, we stream 24/7 on the TuneIn app like thousands of other radio stations. But do me a favor, hit the like button. Also, check out the station's Facebook page, AM 830 WCRN. I do stream there, as well as my show Facebook page and my X account, Twitch TV, LinkedIn profile, and Rumble TV as well. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Lines open and available for the remainder of the hour at 508-871-7000. Scouts of America. Name changing there. It's been in the works. So the name change and official announcement came. The Boy Scouts of America, the BSA, officially changed its name to Scouting America on its 115th anniversary to reflect a more inclusive organization.
Oh, boy.
The BSA. Do you know Irving Berlin? He wrote God Bless America. Do you know who he left the royalties to? BSA. BSA gets that royalty check for God Bless America, by the way, folks. Now, this rebranding comes 9 months after the initial announcement and aims to meet the evolving needs of young people. But here's the thing, they don't do away with the Girl Scouts. So there's Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts become Scouting America, but they haven't dissolved the Girl Scouts. So here's the evolution. And it's been around a very long time, folks. And I was a scout. I was a Cub Scout. And then I was a Boy Scout. And then I was an Explorer, right? And the Explorer is, for older, whatever, you all know, maybe you don't, but there's different things, right? Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts. There's the Brownies and the Girl Scouts. And then there's Explorers posts that can happen. But anyway, the evolution of this organization on this issue. Back in 2013, BSA began allowing gay youth to join. Now, I don't know if a lot of 10 and 12-year-olds are even thinking about that, by the way, at that age, but I guess younger and younger they are. In 2015, the organization ended a blanket ban on gay adult leaders. So they took the ban on gay leaders. Now, I understand that because you shouldn't equate being gay or lesbian with perverted. That's pedestrian to think that. But I don't understand why the ban was there in the first place, but they took it off. In 2018, BSA opened its Cub Scouts and Scouts BSA programs to girls. So now they made the Cub Scouts and Scouts BSA co-ed. And the name change is being framed as the next step in this inclusivity movement. Now, the backlash and membership trends, like everything when this stuff happens, there's always backlash and some kind of fallout, right? Ask Bud Light what happens. There was some backlash to the name change, but a spike in membership followed the May announcement. Over 15,000 new scouts joined, bringing total membership to over 1 million. The organization says it remains committed to character development, leadership, and outdoor exploration. So the bigger picture, there's financial and legal troubles there, by the way. Even though they're getting Irving Berlin's royalties, it isn't cutting it, folks. The BSA filed for bankruptcy after facing, get this, 82,000 sexual abuse claims. 82,000, leading to $2.46 billion with a B, $1 billion in settlements. And then COVID-19 pandemic also led to major decline in membership. How can you explore the outdoor if you're not allowed to leave the house? So the name change and rebranding could be seen as a way to move past these controversies and reshape the organization's image. Maybe. But the mission remains the same, according to them, right? Despite the name change, Scouting America insists its core mission remains unchanged. But like a lot of things, if you introduce a factor or change a factor, you can't help but it change the overall formula. It does, folks. So, to prepare young people to make ethical and moral choices over their lifetimes by instilling in them the values of the Scout Oath and Law. You all know, right? The Boy Scout Oath. Remember that? Well, the organization emphasizes that its programs still focus on camping, outdoor adventure, leadership development, and teamwork. Okay. Now, some discussion here on this. Is this rebranding a step forward or just some damage control? $2.46 billion. Has the Boy Scouts lost its original identity? Well, you're changing your name and you're changing the rules. Of course, your identity's at risk. Or is it just modern day adaptation?
Joe, I got a question for you.
Sure.
How are you going to conduct a snipe hunt when you have boys and girls in the campground?
A snipe hunt?
Yeah, snipe hunt was a traditional thing done with Boy Scouts to get them out into the dark by themselves, looking for a solution to a non-existent problem.
Well, they're maintaining it doesn't.
Thing.
They're maintaining nothing changes. That will still happen. But if you're sending horny adolescents alone out into the dark, I think you can have some other problems. But yeah,
Exactly my point.
So, will this move attract more families, or will it alienate traditional supporters? And how much of this is about inclusivity? How much is about financial survival after their legal troubles? And does the organization still represent the values it was founded on in 1910? Love to hear your take on this, folks, and your thoughts on this. Does this make Boy Scouts stronger, or does it weaken its original mission?
508-871-7000.
That's true. So Boy Scouts changing the name. The other part I wanted to talk about before I had to wrap up today's show is Trump's favorability. It's surging. This is driving the left absolutely crazy because they don't understand it. They don't understand Trump. They don't understand you if you support Trump, because they never talk to anybody that supports Trump. As soon as they find out you support Trump, they just shut you down. They call you a name. They just don't want to hear from you. Trump's favorability in New York, that New York, hits a record high. Trump's approval rating in New York has climbed to 41%, matching his highest ever rating in the state. And the last time he had this level of support in deep blue New York was back in December of 2016, right before he took office. And what does this tell us about shifting voter sentiment, even in historically Democratic states? That they have to get out of their bubble, for one thing. And immigration is a big factor in driving Trump's popularity. I think that's kind of evident. 79% of New Yorkers support deporting illegal migrants convicted of crimes. How can you not be for this? Who is that 21% like, no, keep those criminals in town? You kind of know who they are because you see them on the news, right? 54% believe Trump will do an excellent or good job securing the border. I mean, incredible drop, by the way, 90+% drops in 10 days after he took office. Well, that's another story we'll get into. Even in liberal states, the majority back strong immigration enforcement. Why? Because of the backlash and the spread and what it brings. They don't get this. And why pick this hill to die on? Right? Why? I mean, it's like looking at USAID. Why are you trying to get all upset over this waste of money? Wait until there's something that you can argue about, right? That's
absolutely it. I think we need to follow J.D. Vance's phrase. Do you hear yourself?
Yeah, do you hear what you're saying? I mean, why down this hill? And why defend horrible criminals? We had a Massachusetts, I forget what, let me see if I can find it. Massachusetts man arrested for violent threats. right? So this guy was arrested for making threats against officials, private individuals, children in public locations. His threats targeted law enforcement, schools, shopping malls, even children in Boston and Wilbraham. So why would you defend bad actors illegally here? And are Democrats losing their own base by ignoring concerns about illegal immigration? Well, they are, because, look, Trump's superpower in this, and it's not that he went out and sought this. I think it's just common sense. There's all these 80-20 issues, right? The majority of Americans are here, and Trump is in that position, or he takes that position. And because the Democrats have this knee-jerk or contradictive type of thing, anything Trump says, they get to 20%, the 20% position, and they stick with it. And then they wonder why they have a 31% approval rating. Why don't you get on the right side of an issue once in a while? And being against something just because Trump is for it or said something good about it isn't enough. It doesn't make sense. You, quite frankly, you look moronic when you do that. And then we got national security and military involvement at the border. People are okay with that. Trump have emphasized Defense Department's role in protecting the southern border. You know, in states under our Constitution, if a state's being invaded, they're allowed to protect their border as well. And Trump have emphasized the DoD there. And he is committed to utilizing National Guard, reservists, and active duty personnel to help enforce immigration law. And the question then is, stronger military presence at the border the solution to the ongoing crisis? Hell yeah. It's called an invasion, folks. Slow motion it may be, but it is. And what this means for elections and beyond, well, if Trump is gaining traction in New York, a deep blue state, could this signal a larger national shift? In Biden's weak immigration policies, come on, they push people to Trump. So will immigration be the top issue that decides some of the next elections? Could be. But this has to wrap up the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. Back tomorrow afternoon at 1 p.m., folks. So you have a fantastic night, and keep your dial tuned right here to AM 830 WCRN. Joe out.